Well, it's a great honor for me to interact with all this young generation of psychiatrists, and I have elaborated in a write-up that is in the survey that is coming up. So I request everyone to go through that, where I have elaborated all the aspects of post-PG career options. Well, I have been given the responsibility of talking on why not we choose to be our own master. We have to be our own master, and if we want to be that, and we have to realize, and that is 1 in 8 person suffers from mental illness, and 70% is the treatment gap. We all know, but we have less belief on that, less faith on that. And in India we have 0.75 number of psychiatrists, and desirable is 3 per 1 lakh. And if I talk about the beds, psychiatry beds, and we have 68,000 of psychiatry beds, but we need around 6,60,000 psychiatry beds, and we are lacking 6 lakhs. And the situation is, US is having more psychiatrists, Indian origin psychiatrists, than in India itself. So this is very weird form of that. We do not have confidence in us. We do not know the prospects of mental health care. And if we want to voyage into private practice, you have to have consistency. You have to be consistent, and you have to be predictable. Your timing, wherever you start, do not loiter from this pharmacy to this hospital, from that or like that. You have to be constant, consistent, and you have to be predictable. And you have to choose your territories. You want to practice organic psychiatry. That means if you practice organic psychiatry, the entire psychiatry is within your grip. And for that, what you have to have some of your mentors, your teachers. And if you are having mastery over organic psychiatry, the entire subject is within your domain. Thereafter, after defining the territory, you can start private practice. The psychiatrists of India are not coming up. They are not shouldering the responsibility. And against what we can see is that we can see the patient themselves are taking the responsibility. Drug addicts are running rehab centers. Well, I'm just continuing what I was revealing just few minutes back. Before I proceed further, I need to convey basically as a psychiatrist what we do. We rescue careers. We rescue suicide. We bring happiness, and no other profession in this planet Earth is bestowed with this level of supremacy. First of all, we have to understand what we can execute, and what we can render to the society. I totally disagree with going abroad, because resources are equally distributed, because mental illness are so democratic, regardless of race, sex, culture, economic variation, ethnicity, countries, everywhere it is same. So what you need to comprehend is that there are some liabilities, there are some responsibilities to your society, to your family, to the nation also. And each and every human civilization, it is filled with resources through which you can grow, you can have your personal accomplishment over, and you can have a very meaningful life in your location also, even in a rural India. So, well, continuing with that, I was talking about the private practice. Why not we choose to be one's own master? Then it is to be continued with the prospects of being an entrepreneur. So before you come to psychiatry as an entrepreneur, you have to have a very strong practice base. Then comes your how you are getting stabilized. That is most important. Respond to those calls. Whenever your patients in distress will be calling you, this is the most important part about psychiatric practice, because if you starting your medication, it will take few days or even weeks to get those medications stabilized, and during that period of time the family members and the patient get so extremely terrified. And there are so many ways you can share your responsibilities. You can engage your reception staffs and subordinate staffs. You can get the phone calls filtered out till it reaches you. Therefore 90% of the phone calls can be filtered, and this is the basic of establishing yourself as a private practitioner. Well, Thereafter, you cannot take feedbacks directly, but you can have indirect feedbacks. Few very important traits for a private practitioner is must. Not only a private practitioner, for a psychiatry as a whole. And I have elaborated very nicely in the article that is coming up in the souvenir. So next point is that database. Because you see, whenever you are practicing psychiatry, a person coming with manic episode right now, 3 years back, he may come with depressive episode, and your database should be smart enough to know. And you can integrate biometrics to detect, yes, you came earlier, and this is one of the most important factor, and you can integrate AI with the database. Then comes indoor practice is very essential, because if you don't do indoor practice, you are going to lose around 50% of your patients, because this is not possible to comprehend a person within 5 or 10 minutes of time that you are affording for the OPD patient. So indoor practice is must, and for the indoor practice, the basics you should have had that. The point number 1 that I already have told, to make one of your mentor, now with whom you can freely discuss about your difficult cases, some of your teacher. Then for your indoor practice, you have to have at least a very good medicine practitioner. There are you'll be getting lots of medicine practitioners, but very few people will be doing the indoor practice. But the person who is doing indoor practice, general medicine, he should be your one of the best friend. And you have to have lots other guys, at least one anesthetist in the loop, in the vicinity, and lots of neurosurgeons and neurologists over the phone. So these things you have to keep in the loop if you want to practice very safely and if you want to render really some meaningful services. Prospects of being an entrepreneur is left behind. I have many videos basically. If you Dr. Rezaul Hamid in Facebook and Mindcare Mundia in YouTube, you'll be getting lots of aspects how I have addressed these issues, and idea is to inspire the young psychiatrists, young generation of psychiatrists to come into entrepreneurship to safeguard the society. Drug addicts are violating human rights. I suppose you all understood what I was intended to convey. I already have conveyed to the young generation. Thank you very much.